Roger, let me go back to the cover for a second. One of my all-time greatest hot foots was in Cincinnati. Remember how the dugout would stretch to first base? How many times do you get poor Uncle Bill Robertson with the same hot foot? I remember one time he won on the field.
I remember that, and it's covered in the book.
Do you remember that
pretty
time?
well? But Bill was a favorite of mine to get a hot foot on because he coached first base. He was our hitting instructor, and he coached first base. So, when you start picking people out to give a hot foot during the game, you can't do players that are playing. It's kind of doesn't get a whole lot of attention when you do a guy that's not playing because he's on the bench. I wanted this to be a big hot foot, and got together with Bill Webb, our director, our TV director, and told him what I wanted to do, and he was, he said, okay, we're gonna be just let the cameraman know when it's happening, and I'll make sure all the cameras are on it. So, the favorite part was mine was Pete Rose going down, and he found out about it, and Pete Rose going down the end of the bench on the first baseline and collecting all the Reds guys from that were on the team that were to watch because they were playing defense in the field and pitching, and we were on offense. And Bill Robinson's in the first base coaching box, and the hot foot went off. But it was a lot. It was fun times. The payback was not so good, but that's part of it.
Jay Horwitz, a special edition of Amazing Conversations. We have two gentlemen on the phone today. Roger McDowell, one of the bulwarks of the 1986 championship team, and Doug Feldmann, who collaborated with Roger his upcoming bio. I got to say, guys, this is the best name for any biography I've ever heard. Hotfoot.
Seriously, Jay, I tell you what, I think they did a great job, but Doug and I were thinking about what the title of the book was going to be, and I came up with this idea
Great
about
name.
Every time I see somebody in New York or they talk about the Mets in '86 and my part of it, the hot foot came up, and so I thought it was pretty cool. So I mean, this is my.
Doug, he got me more than once. I want you to know that. He got me. I'm stupid. I got hot-footed more than once. First, you
got it too, huh, Jay?
Yeah, more than once. You guys picked a great time for an autobiography at 86 Mets because next year is 40 freaking years, Roger. I am an old guy. Did you guys plan this and just work? How did you guys meet? Tell me about it.
Doug, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, quite fortunate. A couple years ago, Jay, I was working on a book about the '87 Cardinals, and because of the great rivalry the Cardinals and Mets had mid to late '80s, I wanted to get the Mets perspective.
Did Terry Pendleton's name come up at all in that book?
Say again, I'm sorry?
Terry Pendleton's name come up at all in the '87 book?
No, not at all. Especially not in September. No. I've been warned about that.
Jay, I don't find that funny at all.
Roger, at the time, I didn't find it funny either, to be honest with you.
I bet nobody did. No,
it was not a good night to be a Met player.
No, but this is all thanks to you, actually, Jay, because the Cardinals PR, I said, hey, I want to get the Mets perspective on that '87 season. So the Cardinals PR, I think, reached out to you, and then I gave you a list of names, and Roger was right at the top, and we hit it off, and I love talking to Roger. He's very engaging, very, lots of great stories to tell about, and not just things you might imagine about, statistics and stuff like that, but Roger talked about the heartbeat of baseball. That thing you can't measure with the numbers. He talked about, holding Vince Coleman on first base, and nobody really understands how that feels unless you're out there on the mound, and that. It added a great perspective to that '87 Cardinals book I just had out this past year, and it made me think, hey, Roger, with his colorful life, his colorful career, his colorful personality, he'd make a wonderful idea for an autobiography. And not all guys are into that, and I was grateful he was willing to take a shot, and he's told a great story, and I'm honored to be a part of it.
Roger, did you ever think back 40 years ago you'd be writing a book? Be honest with me.
No, you know what, Jay? I mean, as we've known over the past 40 years, and there have been numerous books written by a lot of my teammates, and I never really thought about writing a book. It was kind of like I never really thought about coaching after my playing days. But this opportunity came up, and like Doug said, we had a great conversation regarding his book about the '87 Cardinals. And when he approached me about doing an autobiography, I think initially I was like, yeah, no, I'm not interested. But the more I thought about it, it was like, coming up on 40 years. It's a great timing with the New York Mets and the 40th anniversary. And I don't know. I mean, it's a different perspective, I think, on my part about that season. I didn't want to get into a lot of salacious parts of what previously had been, I guess, displayed in previous books, and I just
some of our
thought
guys drank,
I thought it would
Roger.
be great. I'm sorry.
Some of our guys drank. Is what you're trying to say?
No, not that part. Just the parts that maybe just from my personal perspective.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it's more about, is from my personal perspective, and the people that helped me along the way, both in the minor league, major league level, and also growing up as a young kid in Cincinnati, Ohio, and having a dream of playing in the big leagues. And that's, I think, pretty much Doug has captured. The stories that I told, he's captured them, I think very well. And hopefully, it'll be something that people enjoy reading.
Doug, when does the book come out? Have you got a date yet?
Yeah, so it'll be March, right at spring training this coming year.
What company's doing it?
Triumph Books, and I know you're familiar with them.
Yeah.
They did yours, correct?
Yeah, can I tell you something? Not to put myself down. My book came out in COVID. I gave away more books than I sold. Not even freaking close. Not even close.
Jay,
Well, I wish.
Jay, that's the perfect time to read a book. And
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
I read your book.
Well, you're the one. You're the one.
And I had,
not once.
I had to pay for it.
Yeah,
not once have I told Roger to quit his day job. So
we'll guarantee a book signing at Citi Field for sure. Roger, I just wanted to delve in to one of my favorite games. If I can, Doug. Game 6, 86 playoffs against Houston. We just score 3 runs, top of the ninth, triples by Lenny, Mookie, Keys, RBIs. Roger McDowell comes into pitch, 5 shutout innings, 1 hit, Kevin Bass single. We win 7-6 in 16 innings. I remember sitting in the clubhouse. I don't move a bone for almost 4 hours. Everybody talks about the World Series, but we didn't want to face Mike Scott in Game 7. We knew he was Mike, scuffing the ball. I mean, talk about the pressure of pitching under those circumstances.
Well, as we related in the book, it was an opportunity for me to hopefully keep our team in the game, which hopefully was what I did all year, is give our team an opportunity to win the ball game. That Game 6, we knew what we were up against if we lost that Game 6, and that was Mike Scott, and he'd already pretty much dominated us for 2 games. Actually, I believe he was the MVP of that series.
Right.
And so we knew what we were going to be up against, but it was not my thought when I was pitching. My pitching was to get people out. And I had not had great success against the Astros that season. And they were not one of the teams that, I was earmarked to pitch against throughout the course of the season. But when I didn't do very well. And so pitching in the Astrodome, I don't know how many people were there. I mean, it sounded like 100,000 because, the concentration level during those 5 innings was just get the next guy out. As always, I relied on the defense, but the pressure wasn't really felt until after the fact of what we would have faced if we had to face Mike Scott again in that seventh game in Houston. So, again, Jay, it was just about getting people out. I think Doug and I spent probably 2 or 3, possibly more, phone conversations about that particular game, and we've added and subtracted some things from that. But hopefully, the way we presented it gives the reader a better view of what really was going on. The ups and downs, and being up, and Jesse giving up the home run to Billy Hatcher, and we have to go another 2 or 3 innings. But during those 5 innings, my thought process was to get people out and give our team an opportunity to score in the top
Right. The
half.
most amazing about that game, 16 innings, 5 pitchers covered the innings. Bobby O, 5 innings. Rick Aguilera, 3. McDowell, 5. Jesse Orosco, 3. That doesn't happen today. Probably 90 million pitchers cover 16 innings. It's really incredible, and they got their runs in the first inning,
Yeah.
except for the other. Think of it. It's 5 pitchers cover 16 innings. That would never happen again today.
Well, how many did they use? 6 or 7?
I lost that part of the box score, to be honest with you.
Well, you're talking 12 or 13
And
pitchers.
to a man, I'll say.
Yeah. What would you say, Doug?
I wanted to add that I interviewed several Rogers teammates, and to a man, that's one of the first things that right after getting to Rogers' character and his greatness as a teammate, almost to a man, every single one mentioned Game 6 of the NLCS and how the whole season, I guess, could have been lost. Am I correct? If Roger doesn't come in and solidify that middle portion of that game, all that you had worked for, the 108 wins, are out the door.
Roger, back me up on this. You got to understand, the baseball hated us because when one of our guys got hit, we had a fight. We were arrogant. We talked this stuff. We backed it up. And wouldn't have been a lot of tears shed if we lost, to Houston that day in Game 7.
Well,
right, Rob?
If you remember back in spring training, Dave said we're going to win this whole thing.
Or dominate. He used the word.
We're going to dominate, and obviously that put a target on our backs from day one. But and Doug and I talked about this quite a bit. Is that even though we had a lot of egos on the team, it wasn't an egotistical team from the standpoint of our goal was to win a game, and so that was part of it. Is just winning a ball game. Whoever contributed. Again, we had 4 platoons. We had a platoon at second base, at third base, center field, and in the bullpen. And that doesn't happen either. To have 4 platoons, and Davey, what the job he did is making everybody happy. Everybody was content with their role, and that's what it was. Is we all had roles, and we knew what those roles are and were, and that continued throughout the season.
I want to pay respect to Davey. Unfortunately, passed away this year. For me, in '83, we bring up Darryl, trade for Keith, and probably the biggest part of this thing is in October of that year, we hired Davey and led us the most successful run in Met history, averaging 90+ wins a year. Talk about Davey Johnson, the leader. You guys didn't for the book. You couldn't get it for the book, I would assume, right?
No, Jay, you had mentioned to me a while back that he was having some issues and wasn't prepared to speak.
Yeah,
and was hoping that would change, but unfortunately it didn't. But I got wonderful stories from Roger and Roger's teammates about Davey. Yeah,
he was the perfect guy, wasn't he, Roger, to lead us?
Yeah, but I didn't know that at the time.
86.
I mean, Jay, I was a kid. I was a kid just trying to stay in the big leagues. But I do remember, and you know what? Fast forward years, and I go into coaching, and I start to understand some things. But Davey was at the forefront of the analytics. I mean, he was, I think, maybe one of the
No
first
question.
one of the first managers to use a computer, and so Davey. And Doug and I talked about this as well. Is that Davey was as I became more experienced and got years under my belt, I understood Davey was a player's manager. I mean, he allowed the veterans to shape our ball club. Keith and Gary, Mookie Wilson, Ray Knight, those guys that we had on our club to shape our ball club, and we had a great combination of young, middle, and older. I don't want to say old, but veteran players. And so, Davey had the foresight to allow us or allow those individuals to police the clubhouse, police the field, lead in different ways, whether it was on the field or off the field. And so, and I remember the headbutt a little bit at the beginning of the spring training in '85, where after Brent Gaff goes down with an injury, that Davey, wanted me to be that guy to fill the role until Brent came back from the injured list, which never happened. But Davey had a little headbutt with Frank Cashin about whether I should pitch in the big leagues starting in 1985, because I had had surgery and I was out the previous year in '84 with bone chips taken out of my elbow. And Davey said, "You know what, Frank, I'll protect him and make sure that he stays healthy." And so therefore, I go out and throw 127 innings out of the bullpen my first year in the big leagues. And so, you know, but Davey knew his players, and that's probably more key than anything. He knew his guys, and what they could bring to the table, and what situations to put them in to hopefully be successful.
Roger, he did the same thing with Dwight the year before. Frank, may him rest in peace, didn't want to bring Dwight Gooden up to the major leagues. 19-year-old kid who struck out 300 batters in Lynchburg. I was in the office today at St. Petersburg when Davey said Frank he's going to be on the team, and he went down and goes Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, and he really stuck up for you. It's the way he stuck up for Dwight.
Right.
Kind of a similar thing.
And it's a little different ends of the spectrum there. You're talking about Dwight Gooden and Roger McDowell. So let's,
Well, you know what I'm trying to say.
I understand what you're trying to say, but Doc was he was someone that was really, really special. And so being a 19-year-old young man and getting that opportunity to pitch in the big leagues in New York under the media scrutiny that he had, I think Davey not only trusted Doc, he trusted his own intuition, and also he trusted the players to protect Doc as well.
Doug, who are some of the guys? Any favorite stories from some of the players you want to relate to? Who you talking about, Roger, for your book?
Oh gosh, where do I begin?
Come on, there's not that many. We paid him well, Jay. We paid him well.
Good.
Yeah, we paid them all off. No, just one that comes to mind, Kevin Mitchell. He's a rookie with the ball club, right. And
World B. Mitch.
Out in his home turf of Southern California. I guess you guys are on a road trip in San Diego, and being the rookie wanting to show off and all that, Kevin went out and bought himself like this big leisure suit and cowboy boots that came up to the knee, and hey, I'm gonna strut out of this locker room, when the game's over, and I'm gonna strut on out. Comes to find after the game that his suit pants were cut in half across the thigh, and the arms are cut off his suit jackets. So that's what he had to wear leaving Jack Murphy Stadium, was a cut off sport jacket, cut off slacks, and cowboy boots that came up to the knee. He didn't quite have the full suit. And he said, "Yeah, I knew it was Roger."
Not too hard to ask.
I get blamed for everything.
Right, let me go back to. Yeah. Well, let me go back to said about how Davey had roles for everybody. In '86, you're 14-9, 3.02 ERA, 22 saves. Jesse is 6-6. In 50, you pitched 75 games, 120 innings. Jesse's got 21 saves. You really did. We didn't have a certain closer. He put you guys in situations where you could succeed. That's unusual. Two guys can go over 40 saves.
Yeah, I mean, and be happy, and be content, and not worried about being that guy that gets the 40 saves. Jesse and I had a great relationship, and Jesse and Doug Sisk were very tight, and Dougie was his compliment before I got there, and there was a little bit, when that switch took place that, from my part, I was like, I'm kind of stepping on somebody's toes, but at the end of the day, my job was to get people out, and I think that, going back to Davey again, and he knew, the personalities of our bullpen, that hey, at this time, this is the guy that will help us win, and so. It was a great opportunity, a great situation to be in that bullpen, and the pitch. I remember coming into a game against the Dodgers and Sid Fernandez, who Davey was not always happy with, and Mel also. He walked a lot of people, and it got to be one point where we're facing the Dodgers. I think it was on a Saturday afternoon at Shea, and he goes first and second. I think it was nobody out, and he goes 2-0 on Kenny Landreau. And I'm up in the bullpen warming up, and I'm thinking, okay, I probably got the next hitter. Well, Davey comes out, and it counts 2-0, and he brings me in. And I think it was to send a message to Sid that the walks were unacceptable. And so again, Davey knowing his players, because after that, Sid responded, a little bit where, understanding that walks aren't acceptable, and hopefully the concentration level will get a little bit bigger. But yeah, I came in the game in the fifth inning, first and second, and nobody out, a 2-0 count on Kenny Landreau. So that's, you talk about Davey knowing people, and that's a big part of it.
Roger, let me go back to the cover for a second. One of my all-time greatest hotfoots was in Cincinnati. Remember how the dugout would stretch to first base? How many times do you get poor Uncle Bill Robertson with the same hot foot? I remember one time he won on the field.
Yeah, I remember that, and it's covered in the book.
Do you remember that
pretty
time?
Well? But Bill was a favorite of mine to get a hot foot on, because he coached first base. He was our hitting instructor, and he coached first base. So, when you start picking people out to give a hot foot during the game, you can't do players that are playing. It's kind of doesn't get a whole lot of attention when you do a guy that's not playing because he's on the bench. I wanted this to be a big hot foot, and got together with Bill Webb, our director,
You
our
did a
TV
good job,
director,
Rod.
and told him what I wanted to do, and he was he said, okay, we're gonna be just let the cameraman know when it's happening, and I'll make sure all the cameras are on it. So the favorite part was mine was Pete Rose going down, and he found out about it, and Pete Rose going down the end of the bench on the first baseline, and collecting all the Reds guys from that were on the team that were to watch, because they were playing defense in the field and pitching, and we were on offense, and Bill Robinson's in the first base coaching box, and the hot foot went off. But it was a lot of, it was fun times. The payback was not so good, but that's part of it.
Doug, do you ever see the Let's Go Mexico video?
I don't believe so.
Rod, wasn't it you guys really invented the rally hats in that video, if I remember correctly? We were sitting on a bench.
No, that was Hojo.
Your hat,
I think that was Hojo and Bobby Ojeda. Those were the two. No, I wasn't in that because I was in the bullpen. I think
You didn't take
sometimes
part in that?
we would turn our hats, inside out in the bullpen, but it was more on the bench. And Hojo's the one that started that.
W-
Oh,
Which film were
that was
you
in
in where you
L.A.
were
That
walking
was at
backwards on the
Dodger
field,
Stadium. Charlie
upside
Shannon
down?
was helping me with that a lot. But
Yeah,
yeah, it was
yeah,
fun times. 40
yeah.
years ago. It's amazing. But you know what? Here's the other one is that
So,
you know
Roger, my other game I
there are a
wanted to
lot of
touch
things
on.
about that team that during the course of my conversation with Doug over I don't know what was it 6 or 8 months, Doug, we talked weekly. There were a lot of things that
At least, yes.
and that came up that were um, I think they juggled in my mind. Um, and also Doug was like, well, I didn't know that, and so it was eye-opening experience for both of us. There were things that came up that Doug reminded me, and sometimes I would remind Doug about things.
I was going to say, add about that game in Cincinnati, that hot foot on Bill Robinson. And Roger, I don't know if it was you or it was Ray Knight who told me, and Ray Knight, of course, spent time in Cincinnati. He said, yeah, the Reds dugout looked like a kid's soccer game because Pete Rose, somebody cued Pete Rose into the fact that Bill's going to get it. So he starts creeping down toward the first base end of the dugout. And they said, like Eddie Milner and all the rest of the Reds or whoever was in the bench, it's all come because they all want to be at that end of the dugout to see when the hot foot went off. And weren't you waiting?
I thought it got
Didn't
snuffed
take
out.
some time to go off, and you
Whether
were
it was
waiting,
from
you
Bill's
weren't sure if it
run or maybe from the breeze that snuffed the igniter out, which was a cigarette. But eventually, I didn't plan for it to happen during that bat. I think it was Gary Carter's at bat that it happened. I think there was one out, and I'm thinking to myself, I'd hoped this thing would go off, right before the inning started, but lo and behold, it was during Gary's at bat and went off with one out, and I'm like, thank God nobody was on base, or it was a critical situation because David wouldn't have been very happy with me. So you were talking about another game, Jay?
Yes, sir. Cincinnati, July of '86. We're playing the Reds. I forget. So Eric Davis is at third base. Ray Knight slides into him and gets up, and Ray pops him. We have a gigantic brawl on the field. I think everybody and their mother was ejected from the game. Kid was playing third base. And the best part of the game, we were in that outfield because Darryl got ejected, Mitch got ejected, and you and Jesse alternated playing the outfield. You would pitch, come back. That's Davey not willing to take a chance and roll with the punches and let's have fun.
Well, also it was him knowing his personnel. Jesse and I shagged, as you know, we shagged during batting practice, like we were, in an all-star game playing the outfield, and so that was how we got our conditioning and our running in, was by shagging, and I don't know whether it was Davey solely or a collection of the coaches saying, you know what, let's put Jesse and Roger in the off fields from the hitter. And we can alternate them on the mound. And if you remember, Pete Rose protested that game because he said that when we came in from the outfield, we were not supposed to receive another 8 pitches to warm up, and that's why but he's trying to win a ball game for his team, and so, but yeah, I mean, I played the outfield. I remember, I forget whether it was Eddie Milner or Max Venable. Jesse was pitching. I was playing left field, and one of the two, Eddie Milner or Max Venable, lifted a fly ball. It was more to left field than center field, but I'm camped under it, ready to make the third out. And all of a sudden, Lenny steps in front of me, actually stepped on my foot and caught the ball. And I said, dude, what are you doing? He goes, just wanted to make sure, dude. Just wanted to make sure. And so, and so, I didn't get to catch one, which I think would have added to the story. Jesse did get to catch a line drive off of Tony Perez, hit an inside sinker to right field, line drive, and Jesse was caught it right there. And I remember after the game, Jesse was excited more about catching a fly ball than about anything else. And he was also excited. And he said, I'm $1.25 richer because people kept throwing coins at me.
Right, you remember the double play in the game? It was a bunt play. Keith came in. Kid was playing third base. He threw the kid at third.
Yep.
And Tuffa was covering at first base. What a great. No, there's nobody better at those kind of plays than Mix.
No, his anticipation and his knowledge and his risk reward. He always played the game, especially defensively, because that's what I saw. Most being on the mound. He took so much pride in his defense, and his defense was phenomenal. But that was probably, other than the catch I saw in St. Louis, Lonnie Smith going straight back to left field and making a diving over the shoulder catch, flat out prone, making a catch into left field. That's probably the next greatest play I've ever seen. Is that.
Jay, can I go back to that Cincinnati game for one moment? So a name from Roger's childhood or his high school years in Cincinnati, Marty Brenneman. Marty Brenneman got his start in '74 in Roger's middle school, high school. So he probably caught some of Marty, Roger, when you were growing up. Boy, when Eric Davis, you got to listen to the audio from WLW, because when Eric Davis slides into Ray and they start going at it, you can hear Marty Brenneman saying, "Oh, Eric, you're barking up the wrong tree there, because Ray Knight knows how to box." So, and Ray let him have it, didn't he?
Well, I'll even add to that is that during that fight, because our bench was right there at third baseline, so I was one of the first guys out there, and I don't know why, because I was probably 175 pounds, soaking wet, but somehow I ended up on the bottom of that pile. Max Venable had me in a chokehold, and next thing I know, my feet are being grabbed and I'm being drug out, and there I look up and it's Bill Gullickson. He goes,
"Yeah,
Roger, what the hell are you doing in there?" I said, "I don't know how I got in there, but thank you for dragging me out."
Tied up the game in the ninth inning when the late Dave Parker dropped a fly ball in right field. Franco was pitching for it, our good old Johnny Franco, and we wound up winning the game when Hojo hits a 3-run homer in the 12th, 13th inning. But hey, Roger, you had a great career. Enjoyed our time. It'd be a great book. People remember too, after as a player, 12 years as a pitching coach with the Braves and the Orioles. A lot of great knowledge. And Doug, you're close to St. Lucie, Roger. You got to come down. Do a little signing in St. Lucie during the spring, get you back to Citi Field. Great timing for the book, guys. I mean, 40th anniversary, a lot of good stuff going on. I'm sure we'll do some stuff during the year celebrating the team, and I hope you sell more books than I sold. Is that fair?
Well, I will add this, if you don't mind. That is fair, Jay, and I don't want to one up you, but a bigger fish story. But yeah, I hope that happens. Hope we sell a lot of books, and more importantly, I hope a lot of people enjoy it, because I really enjoyed this project, and especially really enjoyed doing it with Doug, because it was very easy conversations, and I look forward to our weekly conversations. And so it was really, really a cool project to do, and get an opportunity to work with Doug.
No hits on the cover.
Say again, I'm sorry.
No hints on the cover.
Yeah, I mean, HOTFOOT is a predominantly big portion of that cover. There's probably there might be a picture of me, and there might be some fire.
I'll send it along to you, Jay. Well, I'm sorry, I thought I sent you a copy. We'll get you the cover out, and Jay, I want to make clear to people too that also all of Roger's teammates said, there's kind of a misnomer about Roger, that he's this joke. If you don't know Roger, people perceive him as a jokester, but they said every single guy said when he went out between the lines, he was a gamer.
100%, 100%.
And the smiles, went away, and you can see that in Roger's countenance. You look at those old films of him pitching, his facial expression. It's all business, and people don't understand that you like to have your fun, but
No
you knew
question.
well when it was time not to have
If
fun
he
and go to
doesn't
work.
do what he did against Houston, there's probably no 1986 championship. So
Well, I appreciate that, Jay.
Listen, I'll
Thank
do
you.
anything I can to help you guys promote the book. Let's stay in touch. And Roger, again, come to Florida. In the spring, if you have copies of the book, we'll hit it 2 places. Hit it in St. Lucie, and we'll hit it at City Field
Cool.
with a book sign.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad you guys got it met. That's Roger. That's Doug. Doug, that's Roger. I'm
All right.
Jay.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Good to meet you guys, Roger. All
Adios.
right, guys.
Talk to
Thanks
you
for your
soon, Jay.
time, man.